Hi there and welcome to our Unsung Property Heroes series. Today we are so lucky we are joined live in the studio by the amazing Yvette Facchini. Hi Yvette, welcome.
Hi Dom, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here, and it's so good to have you face to face.
Absolutely, yes.
So you have, I think, your whole life gone extra mile. You're one of those high achievers that just gets the bit between the teeth. You bite off more than you can chew and chew like crazy.
Yep.
And your property journey is no different.
Yep.
So why property in the first place? What resonated with you?
Honestly, I don't know. The start of my property journey was I was walking past Dymocks one day and they have their book display in the window, and there was a book there entitled 0 to 130 Properties in 2.5 Years.
Steve McKnight, yes.
That's it. And it stopped me and I thought, yeah, I want to do that. And I literally went in and bought the book and got halfway through the book, bought my first property and thought I better read the rest of the book now to find out what I need to do. And that literally was the start of it.
Okay, so you believe in just diving in the deep end and learning on the job?
Learning on the job, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Wonderful. And how did you first cross paths with DGI?
So once I had read the book and bought my first property, I was then consumed with everything property. I wanted to know more. I have a real love of learning, and the more I know, the better judgments and decisions I can make. And your program came up, so I went to your sort of 3-hour days, and then just more and more and more and more and more, I couldn't get enough of it. And so the more I learnt, the more I wanted to know.
Fantastic. And you've done everything, you've followed all the rules, followed the system, got a great deal as your first deal, and just kept on going. And I know the love of learning has driven you. Did you have a bigger why you wanted to do all this?
So, I mean, property is a great vehicle for financial wealth. And my biggest goal always, well, particularly for the last 10, 20 years, is to have my husband retire. And he's now at retiring age. And particularly during COVID, where we all had to start working from home. And once he started working from home, I thought, you've got another 10 years in you, mate. You're not staying here. So this was a great way for him to be able to retire and still do, you know, a hobby, a job, but not a full-time. And he has a building background, he's in construction, so I thought this is a perfect thing for him to sort of slip into and then continue on with.
And he has shared your passion for property?
Yes, he's very good at signing documents. Because
he does what you tell him to do.
I always just say, just sign here, and he just signs. What am I signing? Another mortgage? Let's just get on with it. So yes, I think he hasn't had as much time, obviously, as me working full time to do this. But we go out every weekend. For many years, we've walked around our suburbs just looking at everyone else's house and putting rubbish on their house, because our house is obviously the best. So he has an interest in property, and this will just, I think, ignite it once he can retire and move into this full time.
Okay, so in the meantime, you're the driver?
Absolutely.
And
yes.
That's full time for you, is it?
So I also work and do other things, but you make time for what you want. And so for me, this is a big chunk of my life. And so even if I'm working full time and I've got things with the kids or whatever, every day I try and at least do something with property. Even if it's, you know, checking my app on my phone when I'm out walking, you know, what's that house, what was that worth, when I bought, you know, when did that sell? So I always have that property mindset anyway, and I just make sure I make time to do something every day.
So it's always front of mind.
Yes.
Do you have any routines around property?
No.
No, it fits in with your life?
Yes.
Has anything happened just from having your brain switched on and having like a property purpose focus?
Look, I think you make your own luck, and you know, just putting the letters in the letterboxes. I think that we've had a lot. It wasn't something that we expected, the response that we got with it. So every weekend, obviously not during lockdown, but every weekend we go and we deliver letters that I've handwritten into people's letterboxes. And generally we would do between 100 and 200 letters, and generally we get between 5 and 10 people ringing me.
That's weekly?
Weekly, yes.
Okay.
And we might go and see, you know, one of those people, or sort of 1 in 20 or whatever. And so the opportunity just presents itself. You've just got to be ready for it when it does, and sort of strike while the iron's hot.
So I think when you say, oh, no, I don't have a routine, I just look at my app, I do something every day, that all accumulates because you do have certain standards, like getting out letters every week.
Absolutely.
Just it varies how you get there, but that's the end game. You're constantly filling a pipeline with opportunities.
Yeah, and I think if you don't do something every day, a week goes by and then 2 weeks goes by, and then it's harder to start up again. So it's easier once you're motivated and you're on that wheel just to keep it going rather than to stop and start. Yeah. And also your results show with that. If you're not sort of doing something every day, if you're not passionate about this, you're not going to get the results that you want in the end. And so you're going to be disappointed, and, you know, why do it? If you're not going to do it full on, don't do it.
Do you have to make yourself do it?
No.
Okay.
No. Everything in my life, if I get up in the morning, it's a good day. And I'm just about, I'm passionate about everything that I do. My family, my work, property, cooking, cleaning. But everything I do 100%. And I'm not a perfectionist, but everything is done with joy.
I love that. So let me ask you more about that, because you've said before, I don't like mindset, but you obviously believe in mindset and you've got a really good mindset. Have you done much personal development, or
No.
you just know yourself well?
This is me, possibly ADHD, I don't know. But I am, you know, life's too short to be miserable, and there's opportunity in everything. And if you're stopped in one way, there's another way around it, or there's another way. It might take a bit longer, but there's always a way. If you want it, you will get it. And as long as I can remember, I've just been positive. I don't suffer fools. If you're not in a good mindset, then you're not a person that I need to be around. I'll be courteous, but I don't need you in my life. But yeah, everything's great. I don't really understand why. Everyone has problems, but this too will pass, you know.
We want what you're having. So how, like, let's talk about those obstacles then, because there's obstacles. Well, we've just come through a massive obstacle with lockdown. How did you continue your property journey then?
So what we did, obviously we couldn't put letters in letter boxes. I did do the court list because I thought at least I can send a letter. While we were waiting, we did print, I don't know, 1,000 pages and folded them and have them ready so that when we can get out again, they're ready to go. But what I did just to keep the excitement, and you know, the boom is happening, I had 2 properties that I had gifted to my children that we sold. And one has settled, and so I've got my son involved, and he, with that money, he has bought 4 other properties, sight unseen. But I think I remember you once saying, if the pest man says it there, if the building inspector man says it there, if the bank gives you the money for it, the house is there. So we've used that, and we've gone to regional areas where there's cash flow involved, and I thought this is a good way for my kids to get involved with learning about property and just seeing how it's a vehicle that can help them later on in life. So we have been, or I have been, helping with that, and that has consumed a lot of our time, just doing the legals and the paperwork and everything like that. So that's kept the buzz going.
Fantastic. I don't think I've heard that before. Anyone who bought a property just to keep the excitement and the momentum because they couldn't do what they've been doing before. Yeah. But fantastic, yeah. I love it. And now that you're out of lockdown and you've got your 1,000 letters, are you pounding the pavement again?
So originally, because towards the end of lockdown, I think everyone was having a really difficult time. You know, people were angry and etc. So we originally thought, right, we'll just let everyone just get over the rest of the year and we'll start it again in January. And during the week, my neighbour went out to Homeworld, Box Hill, and said that Clarendon Homes said that they had sold around 90 homes just off the plan during lockdown. So that's almost one a day. And I thought, people are hungry. They just, property, they can all see it's happening. I just thought, you know what, we're not waiting. So this weekend we're going to be back out there and starting up again. Yeah.
So you do your letter drops, you do them by hand?
Yes.
Why is that?
Just, we walk around. Look, we enjoy the walk and we think, okay, that house has potential, that house has potential. No, we don't think so. If obviously we're looking for something that we can add value to, and just doing a scattergun approach, everyone would get it's not what we want. We don't want a brand new 5-bedroom home. That's not what we're after. So we just go around and we target areas that are sort of older homes but still in good condition, maybe 60-year-old homes. And so we just go around, we think, yep, we can add to that, we can add to that, we can add to that. That's in a wrong place, traffic lights, whatever. So we can actually see, if we were a potential buyer on the flip side, would this be a place that, yep, okay, it looks good, it's calm, it's all the rest of it. So it's all about that street appeal as well.
You're very much a live, in-person, in the flesh worker. Tell me, do you always renovate and manufacture capital growth?
Whatever the opportunity is. I have no preconceived idea. And it's, the house will tell me what it needs, what we need to do. Do we flip? Do we divide? Whatever. It's just whatever the opportunity presents. I then think, okay, how are we going to deal with this one?
Okay, and what about dealing with other people in the property game? Negotiating, agents, sellers, off-market deals. Have you had any learnings around that in the last 12 months or so?
Always be pleasant.
Okay.
I just one story from our letterbox drop. We actually did one house twice by accident, and a rather distraught lady rang me and was very angry that I was obviously pushing to sell her house and she didn't want to sell, etc., etc. And within half an hour she was my best friend.
Oh, really?
Yes, so it's really dealing with the situation with the person. Not everyone's like me, not everyone is the same, but I think the fact that I have a positive attitude, people tend to relax and they're happy to talk to me, and I'm not threatening.
Yep.
So I can turn any situation around, and if it's not meant to be, that's fine. You know, thank you, and you know, I don't have to be your friend, but I am friendly. Yeah,
and I think you've also helped other people in you approaching them and buying off market.
Yes, of course, yeah.
What sort of situations are people grateful for your approach?
Look, it's if you are educated in a skilled person makes it look easy. And I think it's the responsibility of someone who is educated or skilled in what they do to help others. And so it all goes around. Someone helped me, you helped me, you know, Karen helps me, and so passing that forward.
So Yvette, I know that you've bought a lot of properties off market, and a lot of people would tend to say, well, in a hot market, why don't people as sellers just go to an agent, put it on the market, have an auction and bump up the price? So people may have doubts about your strategy and what you do, dropping letters left, right and centre and buying off market. What's in it for the seller?
So not everyone wants people through their home. When you have an open home, if they do put it for an auction, I mean, that's quite an aggressive sales system where you've got a lot of people coming through in a very short time. A lot of the people in the homes that we're sort of targeting are generally, they've lived there for 40, 50 years and they're a little bit more sort of cautious, reserved. So just working one-on-one with them and being personable to them, listening to what they want. How can I help you? All right, what do you want? I don't want people through my home. Okay, that's fine. We don't need to open this up to you. You know, can I come and see you? You know, can I help? And we've actually, with one of our deals, particularly during this hot market, the vendor is having a hard time buying a new property. So we've hired a buyer's agent for him. And so that buyer's agent, I said to him, so long as you're comfortable with this person, I don't care who we have for you, they do all the work for you. And all of a sudden, he's like, wow, this is great. So he's got someone helping him. He's an older gentleman. He's got someone helping him, holding his hand to buy a home. Well, if he went to auction, it's just like, mate, 6 weeks you're out.
Yeah.
Whereas this, it's a nice transition for him. He's not scared. He can, talk to the buyer's agent, and the whole way through they will help him. He hasn't bought a house for, 40 years, so it's quite daunting for older people.
Yeah, things that we take for granted is a big deal, and getting your house ready for sale, especially the houses that you are targeting, older style houses. People have a lot of shame. They feel like they can't sell it because they have to fix it up first, but they can't fix it up, and then they just get trapped in that cycle.
That's right. Yeah.
And you also help distressed people financially who are stuck in a corner by taking it off there. They don't have to pay the agent's commission or anything.
That's right. And it's an easy, again, it's making it, the easier you can make it for someone, the more inclined they are to work with you. And it's not always what they get out of it financially. It's also their relief of, I can move forward, I can get rid of this, and so it's easier for them. So if they're in financial problems, they've got a whole head full of things going on. And so to be able to help them with that makes their life easy. And that's what really this is all about. And as much as, the financial gain is why, the end result for me, just being able to help people along that journey for them, it becomes very personal for me as well. And it's really, it's extra rewarding, when they just, say thank you at the end of it. It's great.
So where to from here? Do you have bigger goals? Are you going to up the ante, or you're happy just doing what you're doing?
Look, I think I'm happy just with residential, possibly splitters, maybe small developments. I don't know that I want large developments yet. I just think, I'm in the autumn of my life, is a nice way of putting it. And so, possibly if I was in my 20s and 30s and had this, opportunity back then, I would probably be doing the bigger stuff because I've got time to recover and I've got, the energy behind me. I just want to have fun, help people, make a few bucks, and just have a hobby that I can do. And I really like standing there and pointing to people and say, you do this and you do that, and if I can do that's great as well.
Project managing.
I love that. Yeah.
And your husband, do you think he'll join you going forward?
Yeah, so we're trying to get him to retire, and that's the goal in the next few months. And his background is in building construction, and so I think this will be a nice transition for him, that he's not in such a high high pressure cooker type environment, but still doing the sort of thing that he likes. So yeah, I think I don't want to say I think he will join me. I will make sure that he will join me, and sort of I think he'll be able to enjoy it as much as I do.
I'm sure you will make sure of that. And the children, they're on the property train as well?
Yes, so my original purchase that I made way back when I bought the book, we were able to make some money out of that, and that really didn't cost me any money to buy in. I used the equity from my home for the deposit, and so I was able to buy a house for each of my children, gift them a house, and they have either held on to it or they have sold on, and the money that they have made for that they are then also reinvesting into property as well. So it is something that I am educated, so this is something that I need to pass on to them, and so it's something that they're learning. They don't always like having to pay the council rates or things like that and do the bookkeeping with it all, but it's something that they're getting into, and they can see that you don't have to work for your money all the time. Your money can work for you separately.
Yeah, so, family business and family empire you're building there. Yeah. So what would you say, Yvette, to people who probably are wanting to take the plunge into property? Maybe they're afraid, what if it doesn't work, what if something goes wrong, or making excuses like the market's too hard, there's too many obstacles, it's hard to do.
Look, if you were too scared to walk around the corner, you wouldn't walk down the street. Nobody knows what's around the corner, but and as much as we said, I don't do mindset, you do have to have the mindset that if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it well. and you need to educate yourself. And there are days that you don't want to get up and you don't want to do it, but you do need to. So yeah, the market's hot. Yeah, things can crash. Yeah, there's COVID. Yeah, everyone else has the same issues as you. To be able to see someone else do it, then you can. You know, if someone in a wheelchair can get around and you've got 2 legs, you can get around. So there is, the only person that makes the excuse is you. All right? You need a reason rather than an excuse not to do something. So yeah, if you want to do it, do it, and anyone can do it.
Yeah, you find a way.
You find a way.
An excuse, don't you?
That's right.
Well, Yvette, thank you so much for sharing your amazing journey and for inspiring all of us with what you're doing, and onward and upward from here. Can't wait to see the goals you kick.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.